Hello, Camila.
Hello.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, nice to meet you too. Okay, so I'll share my screen with you. Can you all see the book?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So last week we were studying chapter 27, and this chapter is about contradictions and deceptions. So we saw some questions about contradictions and deceptions, and now we are going to read the answers given by the spirits about this topic. Oh, Charles is here. Hello, Charles. I'll hand it over to you then. It started.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry for the delay.
No problem. I'll stop sharing. So, good morning, Elsalie, Denise.
Good morning.
Maybe.
Good morning here. Charles, Denise, Leta, Roder.
Okay. So just, Munir, just remember me the page.
It's page 417. It's 301, chapter 27.
301.
Yeah.
What is the question? The number of the question for I be able to follow with you?
301.
300. Okay.
301.
So I shared, so I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, yeah, we can.
Okay. So we are still in this chapter about contradictions and deceptions. First remark I would make here is the translation of, it has been translated deception, but in fact in the French word is mystification. So I'm not sure it's exactly 100% the same meaning and translation. Okay. So 301, following are the responses given, yes, I remember, by the spirits to our questions concerning contradictions or mystifications, okay? First, can the same spirit communicating at two different spiritist centers transmit contradictory opinions on the same subject? Okay. Answer, if the two centers differ as to ideas and opinions, the communication may be distorted because they are under the influence of different ranks of spirits. In that case, it is not the communication itself that is contradictory, but the way in which it is transmitted. Interesting, this point, isn't it? We know that the influence of the spirits communication are always influenced by the mediums who are transmitting the message, and even more, their facility to communicate is also influenced by the general ambient of the group and as the ideas and opinions. which then can bring distortions into the communications. I remember one example Kardec mentioned, and that we used as an example is the question of the reincarnation. It has been taught by the spirits in France and Europe, mostly, but not in Anglo-Saxonic countries like US or UK or Scandinavian countries. So this is one of the examples, because when Kardec asked the spirits themselves, why did you teach different things, or why did you stay silent about reincarnation in these Anglo-Saxonic countries? And they explained that they have to bring the teaching gradually and watch not to, how to say it, to induce a shock in the person they are communicating to. So they clearly said, we give a time for bringing this reincarnation teaching into these Anglo-Saxonic countries. So when we see now the status, there has been a lot of progress, of course. You had searchers like Ian Stevenson, who it's not by chance that he was working as a university professor in US and investigating heavily and seriously about about reincarnation. So this helped, of course, a lot spiritualists to open a little bit more. If all do not accept it yet, I think majority of them is accepting it right now already. Liz?
Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, if you have two different groups and they're at slightly different levels of understanding and evolutionary levels, and the prime example you gave us on reincarnation, you have to actually take in the idea of free will, because it hasn't been asked and it's external consideration of the people at the same time. So you're absolutely right. You know, people might ask the same question, but some information will be withheld as to the level of understanding that these people can take at that time.
Exactly. Jesus did the same, basically. He even said to his apostles, this type of things I can say to you, but I cannot say to the people outside, because you have already the possibility to understand it, but they don't. So he could not bring a teaching which the people were not capable to understand yet. That's why all the teaching are coming gradually. And for sure, the spirits of the codification, they told a lot of things to Kardec and to the other who collaborated with him. But there are some questions which are not closed yet, or even some questions where the spirits themselves answered, we cannot answer to this because either we don't know, the spirits, or you are not ready to understand it yet, or you don't have yet the concept which are necessary to understand or to conceptualize these complex notions. So some of the teaching have been left for awaiting a little bit more evolution on our side and capacity to understand them. So that's why sometimes the people say, no, Spiritism, body of knowledge, answers to all the questions. I always say, go slowly. It's not the case. It answers to a lot of questions, but not all. Some questions have been kept open and intentionally by the elevated spirits. Okay. So we can see here that even a good spirit, a same spirit, his message can be seem contradictory given in two different centers because of these influences which are described here. Okay. Second, we can understand that an answer may be altered, but when the character of the medium excludes any possibility of evil influence, how can high-order spirits use diverse and contradictory language concerning the same subject and with individuals who are completely serious? So Kardec is here now asking clearly, okay, suppose now it's a good medium and serious people. Why sometimes this and good spirits communicating? Why sometimes is the communication not 100% in line? Okay. Answer. Truly high order spirits never contradict one another. Okay, so that's a clear statement. It's a basic hypothesis we can assume. Truly high order spirit never contradict one another. Okay. It's the same type of reasoning when Kardec, in the Gospel according to Spiritism, for instance, you have a section which is called a strange moral, and where there are some teachings in the Gospels attributed to Jesus, but which seems to contradict to the general moral teachings he was bringing. And Kardec is there very clear. He says, Jesus cannot fail, he cannot contradict himself. At least by our appreciation, we are much less evolved than him. So a spirit like Jesus cannot contradict. So then he was looking for the reason of this apparent contradiction. It's either it was not Jesus who said it, or it has been wrongly transcribed or understood or translated or whatever, or it has been wrongly interpreted. So, but he comes with a statement that a spirit like Jesus cannot contradict himself. So it's exactly the same as the spirit which was answering to the question here is saying. True highly ordered spirits never contradict one another. Their language is always the same with the same individuals, but it may vary according to place and person. So they do not contradict one another on the teaching, but on the language or on the form, it can vary depending on the place and person. Therefore, note this well. Contradiction is often only apparent. It is more related to words than to ideas. Thus, upon reflection, one can see that the fundamental idea is still the same. So it's very clear. What is more, the same spirit may respond differently concerning the same question, depending on how highly evolved the evokers are. It is not always proper for all to receive the same response, because not all are equally advanced. It would be like a child and a scholar asking you the same question. You would obviously respond to each in a way that will enable each to understand and be satisfied with the answer. In this case, even though the answers are different in form, they would have the same essential meaning. Okay, so the example he puts here is absolutely clear. You do not say to a child the same as to a scholar. At least you can say the same, teach the same, but not in the same form. Okay. Third, why is it that when serious spirits are with certain individuals, they seem to accept ideas and even prejudices that they warn against when they are with others? Another good question, isn't it? Serious spirits with certain individuals seem to accept ideas and even prejudices that they warn against when they are with others. Here again, can be reincarnation, can be also the, how to say, paid mediumship. That is quite, it's another point of difference between spiritism and spiritualism. The spiritualists, they admit that a medium who is spending giving time for exercising the mediumship may get some retribution for it, whilst in our Latin way of understanding, it's something that we reject. Huh? We don't accept because we say we follow the teaching of Jesus. Give for free what you have received for free. So it could be another example on which they may differ in certain ideas. Let's see the answer. We must make ourselves understood. If someone has a well-established conviction about some doctrine, even if erroneous, we must lead them away from it, but little by little. You see, it's a good motive here, a good reason for going again progressively in the teaching. Okay. That is why we often employ their own terms, their own words, and seem to go along with their ideas so that they do not suddenly take offense and stop learning from us. So I think this is also typically applicable for the reincarnation. Moreover, it is not proper to sharply attack preconception, which would be a good way for us not to be listened to. This is why spirits often speak in terms of the opinions of those who listen to them, in order to gradually try to lead them to the truth. They adapt their language to these people as you would do if you were a skillful speaker. That is also why they will not speak to a Chinese person or a Muslim in the same way they would to a French person or a Christian. They would obviously be rejected. Makes sense, isn't it? And this care that the spirits take is also applicable for us. And it's one of the problem, one of the difficulty we are facing, because spiritist body of knowledge is often impregnated by Christian influence. We talk a lot about Jesus, we talk a lot about gospel and so on. But when we go and talk, for instance, to Chinese or to Muslim people, it is better to have a different approach, isn't it? Otherwise, because for a Muslim, for instance, the Quran recognizes Jesus as a prophet, okay? But they have also a teaching which says the last prophet has the last word. And the last prophet for them is Muhammad, is not Jesus, you know? So when you say to them, no, the teaching of Jesus is superior to the teaching of Muhammad, you will immediately create he will walk away from you, because it's contradicting the basic culture and teaching he received since his childhood. Liz, you wanted to say something?
No, thank you.
Okay, so that's why we have to be open-minded. I always repeat, only 1/3 of the human population is Christian. 2/3 are not Christian. But the spiritist body of knowledge has, how to say, the potential to encompass all the human population, all the world population, not only the Christians. And that's why the moral teachings, the good or evil, are not linked mandatorily to the gospel. The gospel is giving as an example. The moral teached by Jesus is giving as an example, but it's not given as the exclusive absolute one, because going like this, we we are repeating the mistakes done over the centuries with crusades or things like this. Huh? We should really be open, and the spiritist body of knowledge, as Kardec always said, you do not need to change your belief. You can stay Catholic or Muslim or whatever. If you come to Spiritism, Spiritism will not oblige you to go against what you believe. Huh? And this openness we have to have. And this is sometimes a little bit difficult to be understood, in particular when the Spiritist teachings got religiosified, as we said, like it was in Brazil, where you have people which, with a full goodwill and the best intention, are claiming that only the gospel will save the world. And this is not the best way to talk to people which are not Christian. Okay. The moral teaching which are universal, yes, this one will save the world. So it is exactly what the Spirit is saying here. The spirits are using the same procedure. You know, we don't even have a lot of information about mediumistic communications in China or in Muslim countries or somewhere else. We have only very little information about that. Huh? I know, for instance, in the Vietnam, there was some form of spiritism, which was Caudaism. And there is also some form of spiritism in Filipinas. But the way the spirits talk to them is different from which they talk to us. And that's why we even have some difficulties to even recognize them and to understand them. Christine?
Hi, everybody. I was just going to say, back to the Muslims, even within the Muslim sector, there's different thoughts on things, isn't there? Yeah.
Can you? I did not catch the
sorry,
question.
I was just about to say that in the Muslim, as I understand it and what I've been watching, there's different thoughts on what faith is, how people interpret that faith.
You know, in France, we have some Muslims which are spiritists, and we learn a lot from them. And when they go to the Quran and seek the teachings, they find also a lot of things which are which they can reinterpret now with information from the spiritist body of knowledge. For instance, when we talk about reincarnation is hardly accepted by Muslims. Okay, but when you go to the Quran, you will find, or the Muslims have found some passages which are quite clearly talking about reincarnation, to be born again in a body and so on. So that is where we should address them and look to the Surat of the Koh, for instance. Look what is written there. You will see that it's talking about reincarnation. So to find the common ground where we can agree with them. And we should,
that would be good.
This is why I said we have the gospel according to Spiritism, but we should have the Quran according to Spiritism, we should have the Buddhism according to Spiritism, we should have the Veda according to Spiritism, you know, looking for the same teachings and just bringing them, building them into a single common universal philosophy. Munir?
Has anybody attempted to do that?
For Quran, there has been some, at least for some teachings, like for reincarnation, for instance, but not in the complete scope as Kardec did with the gospel. So yet, to my knowledge, it's still to be completed. And for Hinduism, I'm in contact with a Hindu, so I'm pushing him to to bring out of the Vedas or out of the religious teaching of Hinduism the same basic principles, you know. It's also quite difficult. And there is one person in Australia who made a speech, I don't remember her name right now, who made a speech about in one of the speeches she made on this month of Spiritism, which was in April, I think 2 years ago, she brought one teaching, which is do unto the other what you would like the other to do unto you from the gospel. And she found almost the same teaching in 8 or 9 different religious texts, including Buddhism, Hinduism, Islamism, Taoism, Confucius, and so on. So it shows that the content is the same everywhere, but in a slightly different form. So it's really this universal content that we shall seek. Munir?
Is there,
Oh, yeah.
sorry, just
Yeah.
the last thing. To try and help with that process, is there any way that there could be or a book written that has all of that, so that it's a basis for discussion with other different faiths, to say that there is something in common with everybody and spiritism?
Again, to my knowledge, not. There are some books who have been written, including a little bit after Kardec's period, but it's how to say, the work is still to be completed. We have only the complete comparison between the gospel and the spiritist body of knowledge, but not with the other basic text of other religions. To my knowledge,
Okay,
it does not exist yet, but we should do it. We should encourage, we should foster this, because otherwise we will stay limited to Christianity in disseminating spiritist body of knowledge, which would be a pity. And we see in France, we have experience, and not only in France, where we have people with Muslim origin who adhere to the spiritist body of knowledge. Some of them were influenced, you know, by Sufism, which is a branch of Islam which is more open to these spiritual questions. So it helped, but yet we have to progress in this area. And this requires us to be open-minded, you know, and this is the most difficult point. But the spirits here, they what we just read is exactly about this. So they do it. So we should do it as well. Follow their example. Liz?
I'll be quiet now. Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Hi, I was going to talk exactly about that universality of the teachings of Spiritism. I think Kardec was very clear from the beginning. It is something that should be universal, and as a science, Spiritism as a science and philosophy, I think it gives us that. And I think when we are, obviously, especially in Brazil, when we see that Spiritism just, you know, had deep roots in there and grew so rapidly and so much, I think we developed a model of Spiritism in Brazil that is very, very much, how can I say, a replica of what some churches, Christian churches, would show as well, more or less. And especially in a way to disseminate, especially in a way to talk to people. And we can't, I think we try, the more we study, the more we get away really from that conversion, let's say, to Spiritism. And yet we are more open if you truly understand what Kardec is written there and his work. Is, you know, you can't just see people from other religions as I can see now, and I've never been, you know, close. I was ever so curious about what other religions would say about things, and felt that there was so much beauty also in the way they saw things, in the way they taught things. And when we have the Spiritism as a reference, exactly what you said, Charles, there's so many things that you can find that are similar. And like you said about the Vedas, the Hindus, as a yoga teacher, have to learn that. And I was like, oh my God, okay, so that is it. Just like what Kardec said. Oh, just like Kardec said. So I had, and still having this huge parallel in my head about that philosophy, and, you know, what Kardec has brought to us and compiled from the spirit. So, you know, I think we need to definitely open our minds in this way, I think. Understanding that Jesus is to us an important person, but it was just a chapter, I think, in that spirit's worth. It is not who he is in the whole. That is another thing we need to understand. Just like me as Elizabeth is a chapter in my life. So, you know, this is another thing we need to kind of open and put things into a new perspective, and truly, like, embrace everybody in the planet in the way they think, in another perspective, to be able to find that common ground and be able to build up an understanding from that, isn't it?
Yes. You are totally right, Liz, and I would just add to what you just said. Spiritism in Brazil had a huge success thanks to this. To what? To the fact that the majority of the person in Brazil are Christian, and to the fact that Spiritism is bringing teaching which are compatible and close to the Christian belief. So it is not a big jump that has been asked to the people who were Christian to become Spiritists. It just put a little bit more reasoning on it, put a little bit more factual things, restore the notion of reincarnation with all the arguments and so on. So vast majority of the people believed in it. Here the context is different. The people reject the religion, or the religious leaders are attacking very strongly the Spiritist body of knowledge, saying it's a evil or whatever. So the context is not the same. And if you want, for instance, Spiritism body of knowledge to have good results, for instance, in India, you have to, the same could work to show how the Spiritist body of knowledge is compatible with the teachings of the Vedas and of the Hindu religion. You know, it's the same type of assurance from people which are not asked to jump totally out of their roots, of their culture, of their education, and so on, to evolve to something different, completely different. You know, by showing the compatibility, you will have more chance that it works like it worked in Brazil. You know. But of course, in India, it will not work if you compare with the gospel, because they hardly know the gospel. Elzoli?
I don't have so too much to see because I am not so deep. I am a spiritist a long time ago, but here in Sweden, for example, people, I think about 65% is they don't believe in anything. And I think, Manu is good because it's easy to talk to him. No, it is not easy because it's like one mule, a mule. When they are very good education, so no problem. But they usually they took us away. But when I ask here to swim in a deep water, it will be better to swim very well. And I now, after 30 years, now I understood to come near Swedish people is better. People, they have a good education, high education. That's better, is easier, and people that don't they live at a farm, for example. It's not discrimination. No. It's because the farmer, they have very high, very strong concept a long time ago, maybe 200 years ago, that no religion, no, because they take, okay, they don't take it always religion, and they took it at we spiritists or people is like they think we're a sorcerer, no, and we have a difficult. But the goal. I have people, some study with Leon Denis, my center, they have academic, it's different. They understand now because, of course, they see live in English in the YouTube, wonderful live, and they explain that this is only nature, and the way we go to the quantic time, we are always there, always. But then they now they think about, this is science. So yes, and philosophy. They understand it. That this is the way philosophy and science, they understand it. So I only want to explain this because we have a little bit difficult, but it's not impossible. No. I think we have good steps now from, yes, I think. Only
No,
this.
you're totally right, Azoli. I mean,
You can translate it to the next.
sometimes I hear some comments saying, no, these people of Europe, they are not interested about morality. They will only see the spiritism as a science or as a philosophy, have an intellectual approach, you know. It is indeed somehow true because of all these deceptions they had with the traditional religions here in Europe, with Inquisition, wars, Northern Ireland, whatever. I mean, you know, and now in Middle East or so. They religion has a negative perception here.
It was.
But one thing is these people that you say which are educated and so on or whatever. You see, for instance, in Sweden, it's one of the lowest. I mean, it's one of the countries which has the best ranking where, in terms of fighting against corruption, for instance, you know, they even if they reject religion, their behavior is deeply ethical and I would say even in conformity. They do a lot of non-profit organizations, they do a lot of charities, they do a lot of things, and their behavior is of integrity, you know, sometimes much more than in some Christian countries where, you know, the corruption is sometimes much higher. So it is indeed not, you know, on this point, they are behaving already quite good. Of course, not all. It's always, there are some difference in the population as everywhere else. But the thing is, they have now to reconcile what they have inside themselves as integrity with the reasoning, with the philosophy to understand, for instance, if they are materialists, they have to understand that there is something else, the soul, and the notion of God, the necessity of a creator. But of course, you need to approach this absolutely not on a religious way, dogmatic way, imposed way. You have to bring the arguments and let them think about. And this is sometimes, how to say, misinterpreted. No, they want only science. They don't want all the moral consequences, which indeed is not true, as you just said it. It's absolutely
You
right.
see, right. Let's see, we had one time it was Divaldo Franco here in Denmark, and everybody was there or not there or in the online to see. There's a wonderful conference, Congress, and they come suddenly to Sonia, Denmark director of the movement in Denmark, Köpenhamn, and she said, "Come suddenly, Joanna de Angelis." Det var en Sunday, but det var så, Joanna's here now. She works on Sunday, but she come here to say something. And a wonderful, what's it in English? A wonderful script. She, to us, it is Scandinavian people, and then Earth is very, very, very hard. Indeed, very hard. But we, you are here, people are here because we come back. Everybody come back to the Scandinavia to do something about the right way that we did not good another time, another incarnation. And but it's not impossible because it's like a candle, one there always, or wherever we are, like a candles in a deep night, deep dark. So everybody see a long distance, like what's a wonderful poetic message from her. And this is what good for us because we need that to push us better. So only this I have to say sorry because I can't so make all this.
Thank you, Ezolie. Liz?
Hi, I think Rosalie kind of sparked something of my experience here in the UK as well. I think like you need to think about not just judging the book by its cover, because although here in UK you have many people that are also, you know, many ascetics and things, but there are many people that are kind of, you know, more, I wouldn't say religious, and there are people that are very religious here in this country. But one thing that is interesting, it is always quiet. These aspects of people's lives, they keep it very quiet and discreet. So then it's not at first glance that you are going to know. Like in Brazil, we know more or less when you greet somebody, you know what's your religion. But, you know, here is completely the opposite. And as you said, Charles, there were so many conflicts and so many wars here, especially about what religion you belong to. So then people are not going to say. So it's a cultural thing to kind of, you know, keep it right and discreetly. When you see people and you talk to people, like you know, when you are in Brazil, for example, obviously, because I grew up there, by the way people speak, by the way they talk, you know more or less what religion they belong to. The way they dress, sometimes it is like that. But here it's completely different. It's so discreet. So you can't just judge, oh, people don't believe in anything and whatever. They are more towards that. No, it is just something that culturally they just leave it very discreetly. And they won't show unless they are more comfortable and are able to talk to you about it. That is all.
And this is exactly what we just read in the Medium's book. The spirits are doing this. So we should follow their example. And copy-paste doesn't work. We have to adapt to the people we have in front of us. And not say, no, because this worked at one place, it will work everywhere. No, that's not true. We have to have this, to stay open-minded, to have empathy, to understand how the people are thinking, and then to go and present in a form that they will not be shocked, or that they will accept easier. It's as simple as that. And I think this example here, they will not speak to a Chinese person or a Muslim the same way as to a French person. And this is absolutely true. So the spirits do it, let's do it as well. And they continue,
Charles.
one should... Pardon?
Thank you, because sorry, because it's true that you say, because here so many people here is medium. Oh, medium. No, in the highway. We see medium and they talk. They children talk. We know because it's naturally. We have spirits every place, and is interesting because medium's book. I have one library now. I will come with medium's book. They would like to know more because they know that we can communicate and so they maybe this is the easy and a way easier way to know Swedish people. I think.
Yes, of course, we should focus on the points we agree. That's also a good strategy. And he is complementing, saying one should not see as a contradiction what is usually only a developmental phase of truth. All spirits have their mission assigned by God, and they accomplish it according to the conditions they consider proper for benefiting those who receive their communication. As simple as that. Munir, I saw you also rose the hand 2 or 3 times. Maybe you would like to add or comment something?
No. I was just going to comment to Christine about the you mentioned also the Sufis. They are very much within Islam. They're very much spiritualized and even use mediumship in their dance. They have a kind of dance where they actually are mediumized during the dance, and so showing that just like Christianity, in Islam we have very many branches. According to, as the spirits say, the level of development of that group. I understand in one way, that group understands in a different way. So we receive the help from spirits according to the level that we are in, and that's why sometimes we have these apparent contradictions.
And complementing Munir, the Muslims, they do not use the word mediumship. They use the word dreams. So look, we understand the word dream completely differently. So if they talk about dreams, oh, they are making dream interpretation, whatsoever. No, dreams for them is mediumship, you know. So it's also a question of understanding ourselves. When they describe what is a dream, you see, it's like if you read the definition of a medium, it's exactly that. How many time do we have? 7 minutes. Okay, so let's do item number 4, question 4. Even apparent contradiction can cast doubt in the minds of certain persons. What method should we use in order to recognize the truth? You know, Kardec is, you see, always going more accurately to the point. Answer. In order to discern error from truth, one must delve into the understanding of our responses by carefully and seriously meditating on them. A true study must be made of them, which requires as much time as other studies do. Study, compare, and meditate upon the issues. We have constantly affirmed that knowing the truth has its price. How could you expect to reach the truth by interpreting everything according to your own narrow-minded ideas, but which you consider so great? The day is not far off, however, when the Spirit's teachings will be uniform, not only in their details, but also in their main aspects. Their mission is to destroy error, but this can only occur gradually. So you see, I think it's not even case to comment a lot this statement, which is absolutely clear. It's true that we have a kind of a uniformization worldwide with all the social network, almost everybody understanding a little bit of English, and you know, there is a kind of a uniformization in the world. The differences tend to reduce a little bit. In a certain level, you have still some countries remote where the differences remain. But as the Spirit says, this can only occur gradually. It needs time, it needs study. How do they think? How do they understand the words and the concepts? And this is absolutely fundamental when we want to disseminate worldwide. We have to be open-minded. Okay. One more, number 5. Let's go. There are persons who have neither the time nor the ability required for a serious and in-depth study, and they accept whatever is taught them without examining it. Wouldn't that put them at risk to believe in error? Answer. Practicing goodness and not evil is what is essential. There are not two separate doctrines for that. Goodness is always goodness, whether done in the name of Allah or Yahweh, because there is only one same God for the universe. Look what a wonderful answer. Isn't it? They go, okay, the teachings, the understanding, the theories. No, what is the essential? Let's go to basic. What is basic? Is doing good, goodness. Is go away from violence, encourage peace, fraternity, fight against selfishness for more charity, fight against pride, to go for more humility. This is the basics. This is what is essential. Whatever the belief is, even an atheist person which is doing good is worth much more than a spiritist which is doing nothing, isn't it? The belief is just a tool for you to go to this essential, nothing more. This is basically what the Spirit answer here. The question of Kardec, well, yeah, but no, okay, let's go back to basis. So I like sometimes when they make this type of answers, because yes, otherwise we can lose ourselves into the details, you know, whilst the essential is so basic and so clear. Okay. There are still a lot of questions, but I think we will stop here. So you see the answer were from the Spirit of Truth. So that's why these answers are quite, how to say, strong. But I think we will stop here. I will hand over to Raphael, and next week we will restart from question number 6. Okay. Thank you so much for your patience and your attention.
Thank you, Charles. Let me open my camera. Hello, everyone. Nice to see all of you. Right. You stopping the recording